And joining us now, someone who's also very talented, former Treasury official and Morning Joe economic analyst, Steve Rattner, who somehow branded his charts. He's known across America. I was at a dinner party. I never do that, Steve. And your charts came up. Like everyone at the table said, oh, my God, Steve Rattner is this star with the charts. And you've got charts on the state of the economy. Is it good news or bad news?
Well, Nika, I'm happy to report good news today. I often come with not such great news, but the economy really is in quite an amazing sweet spot at the moment. It was great timing for Joe Biden and his State of the Union. But you'll recall we created 517,000 new jobs last month. That brings the total of the Biden administration to 12.1 million jobs. That is more than, in 2 years, that is more than any president has created in 4 years. And what you can see on this chart, which is also amazing, is how fast we've recovered the jobs that we lost during the COVID shutdown. And this charts the COVID recovery against various other recoveries we've had, the great financial crisis, the dot-com, and so forth. And we've recovered jobs faster from this turn down than we did either from the great financial crisis or the dot-com or even the one before that. So it's really quite an extraordinary record on jobs.
So, and the record on jobs is looking really good, and especially the unemployment number, Steve. Despite inflation, though, where are we headed in terms of inflation? I feel like there are two weak spots in the economy, and that's obviously the cost of things for people, but also housing. It is for people looking for an apartment or trying to get that first house. It still feels like an impossible uphill battle.
Well, on the first point, inflation certainly is a problem. It affects everyday Americans. It's affected food prices in particular, which lower income Americans have to bear. But what's surprising is actually how well, if you look at, again, the COVID period, the 3 years of COVID that we've lived through and recovery, surprising how well the average American has done, up 2.6% in real wages. That's after adjusting for inflation. Still a little bit ahead. But what this chart does is it breaks people down into 4 buckets by income, top to bottom. And completely the opposite of what we've seen during much of the decade before. You can see that on the right side, the bottom quarter of Americans have actually done the best. Their incomes after inflation are up about 12.5%. And those on the other end, the wealthy people, they're up 2.6% about average. The people in the upper middle class, so to speak, that second bar from the left, are the only ones really who've lagged. But the real news about this is how much of the gains in income over the last 3 years have gone to people at the bottom and really raised their real wages by a very material amount.
So, Steve, what do you say to people who, as you just pointed out, the real wages have gone up, especially people at the bottom, as you just phrased it? They come out of a grocery store and they say, I'm not feeling this progress. Interest rates are up, inflation continues to, bump along and everything like that. What do you say to these people to make them to believe, hey, you're doing really well, better than you think?
Well, really well, I'm not sure I'd promise them really well with 2.6% on average, but better than they think. And the problem is that a lot of the sticker prices they see, eggs famously at the moment because of the avian flu, they're coming down. We had an episode of gas prices obviously going up enormously. Those kinds of things are hard to explain to them. And you can see on this chart here that inflation really did run at a very high level coming out of COVID. After the shutdown, we had supply shortages, which made price of goods higher. We had labor shortages, which made wages go up, which is good, but it also made prices go up. But what you can see on this chart is how fast inflation has been coming down. It's averaged only 1.9% over the last 3 months. Actually, when prices actually went down in December, I wouldn't promise that or advertise that as where we're headed. But for the moment, inflation is moving in the right direction. Now, what you have to watch, and Jay Powell, the chairman of the Fed, talked about that this week, is you have to watch wages, which is the right side of this. We all want wages to go up. But if wages go up too fast, it makes inflation go up. So wages need to continue. Wage increases need to moderate, unfortunately, to get inflation down and make real wages go up. And it's been happening, but they're still in the 4 to 5% range. They need to get down closer to 3 for inflation to get down closer to 2, which is the Fed's target.
Steve, we heard a lot of economists talk about the recession, and we kept waiting for the bottom to fall out with the recession. And now we're hearing, because of the better economic forecast, that we may avoid a recession. What does that mean to the average person that becomes concerned about the price of eggs and the price of gas? The fact that there may not be the recession that we were afraid of, but what does that mean to me at home?
Well, to the average person, not having a recession is good news, because recessions mean layoffs, they mean job cuts, they mean incomes going down, and it's bad for the economy as a whole. We've had 2 quarters, the last 6 months of last year, we had very substantial growth. There is a chance we might avoid recession. It's not a foregone conclusion. I think the odds have simply gone down a bit. But the Fed still has work to do, and as it raises interest rates, it raises house prices, as Mike was speaking about, and that affects the average American. So recessions are bad for the average American. It just makes them less well off. It makes the economy less well off. The flip side is, if we avoid a recession, the jobs machine continues. Hopefully wage increases continue. And it's not perfect, but life is decent for the average American.
Willie, given your level of affluence, which is considerable,
Mike,
what are your critical thoughts on the economy and the charts?
Well, I love, like Mika's dinner guests, I too love the charts. I think people do look forward to the charts, and I like that we're getting them a couple times a week now, too. We want to